Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. First things first, you guys know what to do. Make sure you smash a like and make sure you subscribe if you're new around here. Remember, guys, at 5,000 subscribers, there will be a giveaway for a Chelsea training top of your choice from the new range this season. So please make sure you subscribe. When we get to 5K, there'll be a Chelsea training top giveaway. You don't want to miss out on that one, people. But yeah, let's dive into today's video then. And Mauricio Pochettino has got some tough squad decisions to make as we get ever closer to the new season. Just the one game left against Borussia Dortmund in the early hours of Thursday morning UK time left before we've got our final preparations for the Premier League season starting next weekend. And the squad does need to be trimmed down. 29-man squad went out to the States. Obviously, Pochettino's gone on about 23, 24, maybe 25-man squad for the coming season. We know there's going to be a couple more coming in. Hopefully, Moises Caicedo and Robert Sanchez will be done soon. And obviously, maybe Mohamed Kudus or Michael Elise. But there's at least 6-7 players that from that travelling party are going to need to be either sold or go out on loan. And this is where some tricky decisions are going to have to be made. I think we already know full well that Trevor Chalobah is available for loan or sale. Inter Milan and West Ham are interested in him. So I think that's a relatively straightforward one that you can tick off, along with the future of Conor Gallagher as well. I think Chelsea are looking to sell him. £50 million is the price that they want. West Ham interested in the player. Again, I think Chelsea could look to maybe lower their asking price potentially to £45 million, something in and around that kind of range. And I think Conor Gallagher probably is surplus to requirements at the club if someone like a Mohamed Kudus comes in or an Elise. Obviously, the emergence of Carney Chukwuemeka as well, I think is much more beneficial for Chelsea to be giving him those minutes of Gallagher. So I think from the squad that have travelled, I think you can probably get rid of Conor Gallagher and Trevor Chalobah, in my opinion. And then you've got decisions to make about the likes of Angelo, Gabriel, the wide player who's impressive. You've got decisions to make about Lewis Hall, Maatsen, Cassidy, Andre Santos. And these are some of the players that we're going to discuss in detail in today's video. I mean, as always, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below as to who you think is going to be part of the squad. Who do you think should go on loan? Who do you think should be sold? Because there are some big decisions to make and some tough decisions to be made as well. Pochettino is fully aware that the squad's still too big. He's fully aware that, a few more players need to come in. And he's also fully aware that he's going to have to, let some very good players either leave on loan for the best for their development or be sold. Let's start things off with the left back kind of scenario we've got on our hands. Obviously, Ben Chilwell is not going anywhere this summer. Chelsea reportedly are open to offers for Marc Cucurella, but again, I can't see any offers really that are suitable coming in for him. So that leaves us an issue then with Lewis Hall and Ian Maatsen. Let's start with Lewis Hall then. Hasn't featured a lot in pre-season, but when he has featured, he's looked very good. Second half against Fulham, he was great when he came on. He came on a little bit further up the pitch than the usual left back. So he was playing ahead of Cucurella on that left-hand side. And he looked good. And every time he's played for Chelsea in the Premier League, he looks a proper player. He's got talent, bundles of ability. Doesn't look like the big occasion phases him at all. And, he looks like a star now, star for the future. Only issue we've got is he doesn't get ahead of Ben Chilwell for me. And if Cucurella is still here, Chelsea, I don't think are going to be in a position where we can have someone of Cucurella's expense and the wages that he's on just kind of sat on the bench as a third choice. So for me, whilst I think Lewis Hall is good enough to play a part in the squad this coming season, I think for his development at his age, 18, 19 years of age, that he goes out and plays week in, week out, gets that exposure on a regular basis to Premier League football, or whether it's a top championship loan, really hone your craft, develop your game even more, and then come back in the 24-25 season where if Cucurella is not improved or if Lewis Hall's improved much more and looks better than Cucurella does, then we can look at selling Cucurella next summer with Lewis Hall to come in and take that position. So for me, Lewis Hall was just kind of a little bit of a victim of circumstance here where, in hindsight, maybe Chelsea shouldn't have signed Cucurella. But for me, Lewis Hall, a Premier League loan if he can get it and play regularly, or a top championship loan will serve him very well, in my opinion. Let's move on to Ian Maatsen, then another one that is a tricky one to decide. So he's been on loan for the last few seasons, won at Coventry in the Championship where he did very well, and then he was exceptional for Vincent Kompany's Burnley as they won the Championship title last season. Predominantly a left back, left wing back, but we've seen him pre-season where he's impressed. He's chipped him with goals, he's chipped him with assists, and he's looked like a very, very versatile player. But he's operated in the three behind the striker. I mean, I've not seen him once at left back or left wing back. And again, another tricky decision that's going to have to be made here. Where does Maatsen fit in? Similar with Hall at the left back position, it looks difficult for him to be able to break in due to the Cucurella situation. And then further up the pitch, yes, you could say he could be an option there, but you know, if Angelo ends up staying, is what happens to Maatsen? Then if we go and sign an Elise or a Kudos, then does that put Maatsen out of the squad in terms of, well, he's not going to feature in that front three behind the striker with one of those two players coming in? So for me, I think at this point in time, Pochettino has been very honest. He's been very straightforward that Maatsen currently is part of the plans. But, you know, I still wouldn't rule out all three options for Ian Maatsen in terms of, yes, he could definitely stay in the squad. He could be loaned out or he could even be sold. I think all options are on the table for him. For me personally, I think a loan will be best for him. I envisage Chelsea bringing in a Kudos or an Elise, which means that, you know, for me, Maatsen doesn't really get the minutes that he needs at this stage of his career. So I think that Ian Maatsen will ultimately end up going out on loan. So I've got Lewis Hall and Ian Maatsen going out on loan. If we move into midfield then with Cesare Casadei, Andre Santos, and of course, Carney Chukwuemeka, I think for me, let's start with Casadei. I've been impressed with him in pre-season. He's done really well. You can clearly see he's got an eye for goal. He looks comfortable on the ball. His runs forward from midfield are great. You know, he's done very well at age group football, particularly at the Under-20s World Cup, where he's player of the tournament and won the Golden Boot as well, which is quite something for a midfield player. Chelsea haven't had a goal threat from midfield probably really since the Frank Lampard days. And, you know, I like what I see from Casadei, but, you know, particularly that second half performance against Fulham, for me, he doesn't look ready for the rigors of Premier League football just yet. You know, he looked a bit nervous on the ball. He was giving it away. He was sloppy in possession. And, you know, the Premier League will eat you up like that if you're not bang on it. And so for me, I think Casadei is a top talent for the future, but I'll be looking to loan him out. Leicester are interested. Enzo Maresca is pushing for the deal. Chelsea ideally would want a Premier League loan or a Serie A loan. But if he goes to Leicester, plays week in, week out in a top championship loan, I think that could be very, very good for his development as well. And I think we've got a top player on our hands for the future. But I think this season it's going to be best for Casadei to go and get a full season of senior football. He had half a season at Reading last season in the championship where he did well. I think a full season of first-team football is going to be great for his development and then come back in 24-25. A couple of players that shouldn't be going anywhere, Andre Santos and Carney Chukwuemeka. Let's start with Santos. And obviously, we still haven't signed Moises Caicedo yet, but, you know, I think we will. And Santos has proven alongside Enzo Fernandez in that pivot that he can be a top-class player for us, you know. He's still got a lot to develop in his game, but he looks raw. He looks a top player. He doesn't look phased. He's calm on the ball. He's great at breaking the play up. You know, he's played as a six in a three-man midfield. He looks comfortable in the pivot. And the fact that I feel we're only going to sign one midfielder this window, I think it will just be Moises Caicedo. Andre Santos is going to have a big role to play this coming season. I think from what we've seen of him in the pre-season games, he looks more than ready to come in and do a job as a rotation option and starting games in the Premier League and in the Cup this season. So for me personally, Andre Santos really shouldn't be going anywhere. And it's the same with Carney Chukwuemeka as well. Yes, for Chukwuemeka, it's a little bit different. If he play in a three-man midfield, he could probably play as a number 8. I think he's good as a backup option for a number 10 possibly as well. But then if we sign a Kudos or an Elise as a backup 10, where do we see Carney fitting in? I think Carney was treated poorly by the club last season. He should have played way more minutes than he got. And every time he stepped on the pitch, he looked very impressive. Now, I think it's clear that we need to move Conor Gallagher on so that Carney can take those minutes on the pitch, that space in the squad. But I think he's more than good enough. I think he can rotate with Nkunku in that 10 position. He can play as a number 8 potentially if we go in a three-man midfield as well. I'd be keeping him around the place. But again, it depends who comes in and it depends how the club and how Pochettino sees it. But for me, I'd keep him around the place. But again, you can't completely rule out a loan move. And I do feel that 2 of those 3 out of Casadei, Santos and Carney are going to go on loan. And right now, I think Santos is the one that looks nailed to stay. So for me, I'm going to say Carney goes on loan for me. I would like to keep him around the place, but realistically, I think he could be going on loan. But then you've got the wide player situation as well. It's obviously that Diego Moreira is too soon for him, having been playing at Benfica B last season. But, you know, you look at Angelo, for example, which the plan was for him to go on loan to Strasbourg. But then you look at it, he's done really well this pre-season, and maybe he hangs about and we don't sign an Elise or a Kudos. I don't really know, but that's not as nailed on as it was. He's looked a lot more impressive than Raheem Sterling. But again, yes, he's an experienced player in terms of played over 100 games with Santos and whatnot and things like that. But the Premier League's a different beast. Yes, he's looked good on the ball. He's, you know, in pre-season, but the league is different. I personally still feel a loan is best for his development, but again, don't rule him out staying either. So I guess there are some really tough decisions, but I'd be loaning out Angelo, I'd be loaning out Hall and Maatsen, and I'd probably also loan out Chukwuemeka and Cassidy. So yeah, look, there's quite a few loans there that maybe takes us over the 7. But yeah, I think one midfielder comes in, so 2 probably of those go on, 2 of those 3 go on loan. Again, it depends on the incomings, but yeah, I guess really there's some difficult decisions to make, guys. I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, people. Who do you think should be going on loan? Who do you think should be staying? Please let me know your thoughts. As I said, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you smash a like. Make sure you subscribe. Remember, at 5,000 subscribers, guys, there's a Chelsea training top giveaway from the new range. So make sure you subscribe. The quicker we get there, the quicker that draw will take place. So thanks a lot, people. Take care. Up the Chelsea and peace out.